Welcome to Friday's live voiceover Q&A. What's going on? Hey, before anything else, if you would be so kind as to somebody let me know whether you can hear me or not. I'm paranoid. Yesterday we had audio problems, and I think I narrowed that down to an issue with the audio being hijacked by another program I had running. So if somebody could just say yes, no, can you hear me? And then once I see that, I'll be able to rest easy and continue on. Otherwise, you just see my lips moving right now, and you have no idea what I'm saying. My name is Bill DeWeese. I'm your host, and thank you for joining us for this daily get-together, the daily voiceover huddle. Okay, we're all good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Every weekday, we get together at this time to talk voiceover, to share a tip, trick, strategy, something to help you move further down the road of voiceover success. Fridays are traditionally set aside for Q&A, and so the way that works is check in on the live chat. Let me know where you're watching, listening from this morning, and if you have a question, just make it short and concise, and I'll make my answer short and concise. I just want to be able to get as many as I can in the time that I have. One other thing I wanted to mention, excuse me, before we really get into it, and that is that Dr. Bana Parker's program, the training that she did for us earlier, the live training she did on this past Tuesday night, on having the proper mindset to succeed in voiceover is only available until midnight tonight Pacific time. So midnight Pacific, 9 Eastern time. And then at that point, the program gets pulled. So if you're interested in it, and it should be, it's good. It's really, really good. It gives you a model, a layout of what's involved in strategies to be able to overcome those things that hold us all back. I mean, we all deal with it. There's not a person in voiceover that does not deal with the mental side. And if they haven't dealt with it, they're probably struggling big time. So make sure you put this in your library of training. Link below in the description. You can check it out there. Just a quick note, a follow-up to what we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, I said, or I asked the question, can you record voiceovers in your car? Because somebody had said that a number of online voiceover talent had said, no, you can't. And I said, yes, you can. Cars are actually they're specifically uh, made to be as quiet and as acoustically pleasing as possible. So they can be a good, maybe not, plan A. It wouldn't be the most convenient place to record, but certainly as a plan B, a backup, it can work very, very well. I received an email from a gentleman by the name of Alan Ball. He's an actor here I used to be here in the Chicago area. I'm not sure that he's here right now, but was introduced back when I was thinking about getting into voiceover. So we're talking 20 plus years ago. Um, a very dear friend of mine, and she's an actress here in the Chicago area, has been doing theater here in and around the city for years, and is a former college student of mine, and also later went into radio and became a morning co-host with me in radio. Maria Barr. Maria, shout out to you if you're watching. Uh, Maria suggested that the three of us get together for lunch so I could ask questions and we could talk voiceover. And isn't it nice when somebody takes the time to actually share information with you? And I'll be forever grateful to Alan for taking the time to do that. And so we met at a little diner in town, and we chatted, and he was very encouraging to me. And by the way, and he's a legit actor, legit voiceover talent. I mean, very, very talented guy. And he commented yesterday on one of my social posts regarding the video yesterday, and he was saying that he has not only recorded auditions in his car, but he's booked voiceover work from auditioning in his car from a very legit talent. So again, just because somebody says something online doesn't make it true. Always ask questions. Always ask questions. All right, now that I've said that, what's on your mind this morning? Let's go and see what's happening in the chat. We've got Alex checking in from Utah. David in Hamilton, Ontario. Jim, what's going on? He's thawing out in Memphis. All right, Jim, glad to hear that. John in Denver. Ethan in Toronto. Rocky from Rocky Top, Tennessee. Thanks for all the encouragement and free advice over the years. Congrats to OSU. Well, thank you for that, Rocky. And did you notice I've already shifted? Speaking of mindset, I'm off football. I've got no dog, no dog in the hunt right now. Ohio State won the national championship. The Bengals and the Bears are out of the playoffs. So it's all about baseball now, baby. Looking forward to a great year with the Cincinnati Reds. Hey, Joe, what's up? How are you doing in the UK? How loud do you make your final file that you send to clients? There seems to be no industry standard for this. There is an industry standard, and here's what it is. Any audio that you send to a client should be normalized. And what that means is the normalization is when it takes the peak, and you normalize to minus 3 dB. So what your DAW will do is it will take your audio and it will either increase the loudness or decrease the loudness until the peak of that audio, the loudest, bumps up against minus 3 dB. Now, I won't make this a lengthy add-on to that, but let me just say this. That doesn't necessarily determine the overall, at least perceived loudness of it. So you can have, like, for instance, if you're recording with compression or do a little bit of hard limiting, it's going to make the audio thicker. And so even though if you're normalized at minus 3 dB and somebody else who hasn't compressed or done any hard limiting at minus 3 dB, their audio won't sound nearly as loud as yours. So again, I'm not trying to confuse the issue, but whatever you record, normalize to minus 3 dB when it comes to final projects. For auditions, I like to bump it up a dB or two because loudness is perceived as higher quality. Just FYI. That's a fact. That's hashtag science right there. That's been proven. Give people 2 pieces of audio, one a little bit louder than the other, same audio, and say which is better. They'll say the loud one. Marlene, what's going on? Fresno, California. When recording in the car, Hal, DAW, mic, etc. Miss you already. Well, Marlene, thank you for that. Well, I mean, it's the same equipment. You've got to. I know a guy who once he bought this big clip that he could put on the visor of his car, and it had in the mic arm attached to it, and he had his microphone set up that way. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how he got that or how he did that, but that's what he did. So you'll have to. I've never recorded from my car. Actually, I have, like, once or twice, but it's been many years ago, and I think I held the microphone in my hand to do it. So you could hold it in your hand, but that could be problematic. So if you could get a way to, again, clip it to your visor, probably the best solution, and you would need a notebook computer or like a smartphone or even like an iPad or something like that. You could record into that, take it into your house, transfer it over to your computer, do the final editing. Nephi, what's going on in Knoxville? GS and Longview. Jolie, doing my morning physical exercise while waiting for my morning brain workout from the huddle. All right, Jolie, you have a great weekend too. Hey, Ron, good morning. Sarah, good morning to you in Kentucky, the bluegrass state. And I believe the slogan is, if I remember right, because I've crossed over that bridge over I-75 many times going into Covington, which, by the way, is where my wife and I honeymooned, in Covington. That's a whole other story. It wasn't exactly our dream honeymoon, but it was convenient. It's where education pays, right? I think, isn't that the slogan, where education pays? Rusty, good morning to you in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. John in Rhinebeck. When you leave the stream, will your instructional videos, DIY demos, still be available? John, as far as I know, I imagine all my videos will stay in place. I won't be around, so I can't guarantee anything. But that's what I think will happen. And if not, let me know, and I'll record some other ones and get them up someplace for y'all. Mark, what's going on in Montreal? Do you send your demos as an email attachment, or do you send a link to your website? Only send out your your demos as an MP3 attachment. Make it small, not a WAV file, but an MP3 file. Only if you have been asked or given permission to do so, because oftentimes servers will identify it as spam if they don't know the email address, and they'll just toss it to the spam folder. Or the person, if they're savvy, they won't open it, because if they don't know you and they don't know, the attachment, they shouldn't be opening it to begin with. Now, when I have a client respond to an email and say, hey, yeah, send me your email, send me your demos. Absolutely, I send the demos. Otherwise, I'm pointing them to my website. Good morning, Edward, in New York City. How are you doing? Sandra, what's going on in Worthington? Alex, motivation has kept me on track, and I feel nervous but ready and motivated. I'll miss seeing and hearing you, but I look forward to still being here every morning. Hey, Becky, what's going on in the mitten of Michigan? Wayne in Port Orchard, Washington. Zach in Fargo. Jim, good Friday morning to you in Grable, Indiana. Eddie, good morning to you in San Antonio. Would the requirements for ACX be a good operating procedure for any VO project? Yeah, I would imagine so. It's funny. I've the stuff I record actually by accident meets ACX standards. I had Alex check it out, and actually I had to lower I think the volume like a dB or two, but other than that, I got lucky. But I got to think that if you're meeting ACX standards, then you're in pretty good shape overall. I think it's a good question, and yes, I would say yes. Good morning, Emmy. What's going on in Phoenix? Aaron, happy Friday from Columbia, Missouri. I know. I'm so happy. I gave Vicky the big TGIF this morning when we were getting ready. Love my Fridays. Rick, what's going on in Minneapolis? Ralph, good morning to you. We're encouraging everybody to hit the like button. Sarah, my next step is a DIY sound booth and an extra closet. Lots of mixed info out there. Cover every surface with foam. Don't bother with foam, etc. Please advise. Sarah, it just so happens, I started off my career in a bedroom closet. I was there for like 4 years before I got this booth. So I didn't start off with this booth. I was in a bedroom closet, built a 6-figure income. I was doing national work. In that closet. Now, I just left. It was a clothes closet. So the clothes were left in place because the clothes were absorbent. And I did buy a Walmart mattress topper to put right in front of me to stop the sound reflections right in front of me as I was facing the wall. But I didn't do anything else. Now you need absorbing material. My Lord, can't talk this morning. You need something to absorb those reflections, sound waves. So again, if it's in a closed closet with lots of clothes, great. I wouldn't advise covering every square inch necessarily. That's not necessary. But you do need something to knock down that reverberation. Otherwise, you get that big hollow kind of reverby sound, and you don't want that. Oh, let's see here. Oh, where are we at? Let me back up here. The stream is moving full steam ahead on me. Here we go. Wally, soaking up every word of my VO mentor. Thank you, Bill. You sound great. Thank you, Wally. You're very kind. Sandra, hello there. Sarah, I think we just talked. Doug, I can hear you from Greensboro, North Carolina, all the way down there. Fantastic. Hey, Jeff, good morning to you in Southern Indiana. Thank you, Bill. Yesterday, I did my first $1,000 gig, 1-hour directed session. Thanks for all your help. Jeff, fantastic. That's not bad for an hour's work, is it? No, it is not. Kirk, hi, Bill. In February, will I continue to pay you for the blue? Okay, you won't be paying me anything. I will not be around. Mike Hathcote is, for those who haven't heard, I guess I'm assuming everybody knows what's going on. I'm retiring from voiceover training at the end of this month. Mike Hathcote, great guy, successful voiceover guy. He's been involved. He's a product of the voiceover blueprint and has been a mentor and coach in the blueprint for a number of years now. He'll be continuing on doing the things that I've been doing, like the morning routine. At least I think that'll be part of the routine, and he'll be heading up the blueprint. So that will continue on, and so he'll be the guy that you'll be in touch with regarding all that. So I don't expect a whole lot to change in terms of the billing and all that kind of stuff, but you can always reach out if you have questions at training@thevoiceoverblueprint.com. Training@thevoiceoverblueprint.com. Marla, freezing in Central Texas. Tracy, good morning from Rochester, Minnesota. What clothes do you stay away from in the studio? Wow, that's a good question, Tracy. Anything that makes noise. And for me, as a general rule, I don't wear hoodies because I'm like, I love hoodies, and I do like hoodies. And if you notice, in the summer I wear t-shirts, and in the winter I wear hoodies. And this is specifically for a reason, and that is these are, generally speaking, very quiet. The hoodie less so, but as long as I'm not like moving around, rubbing my arms against, I'm fine. But that's why I wear the clothes that I do. What I stay away from, typically anything like a button-up shirt, anything has any stiffness to it all. Quick story, I've shared this on the channel before, but for those who missed it, to talk about the importance of being quiet. Back in the day, I used to have to go into the city, meaning downtown Chicago, on occasion to do recording sessions down there. And one day, this is a number of years back, I had a session, and the session was for, I think it was a commercial. I don't remember the specifics, but what I do remember is that the advertising agency, in addition to the engineer, the agency was there, and they had 5 or 6 reps from the agency there. So basically, I was performing for an audience, and I'm in the booth, and I'm looking through the glass, and they're all sitting around like in a semicircle, all the agency people, and they've got their notepads and their pens, and as I would record, they would make notes, and between takes, they would get together. Of course, I can't hear them, and they would chat or talk, and then designated spokesperson would hop on. She would give me the feedback. Okay, now let's try this, and then I would do that, and they'd get back together, and I could see them chat. Unnerving, very unnerving. But what was even more unnerving was that since I was going downtown to the studio, I figured I probably should change out of a T-shirt. I wanted to look like I did this for a living, not but anyhow, so I thought I needed a button-up shirt, so I wore a button-up shirt. And that entire session, it was like, I could hear it, and it was, I mean, I was sweating bullets. It was it was so clear, and then when we got together to listen to all the takes outside, outside the booth, through the monitors, oh my gosh, I could hear it was continuous, and I thought for sure somebody was going to say something, but nobody did. Not even the engineer, nobody said anything, so apparently the engineer could go back and clean it up. But you gotta be careful about noises. So again, for me, the general rule is if it buttons up, unless it's a golf shirt, but if it's got any kind of like cotton in it especially, I stay away from that stuff, it makes noise. Andrew, Latvia, good morning. Good evening, I should say, or good afternoon. Dennis, hello. Tanya, how you doing and shivering, or you're shivering in South Philly. Hope you're doing well. Doug, sorry to see you up. Sorry to see you go. Sorry. Can't read. Will you leave all your old clips online so we can go back and review? I'll be leaving them there. Yeah. Denise, how are you doing on Long Island? Katia in Portugal. Hey, Katia, good to see you here. And hope I pronounced your name right. Forgive me if I didn't. Terry in Falston, Maryland. Ken in Woodstock, Georgia. How do you address climate control in the sound booth? All right. Watch very carefully. This is important. This is my climate control. Cooler, warmer. I'm not joking. That is my climate control. I own the ventilation system that came with this, but it makes noise. I mean, there's no such thing as a perfectly quiet ventilation system that I've ever witnessed. So there's a couple of holes in the walls down toward the bottom, to port cables through. And so when I crack this door, it's still very, very quiet, but it allows, I can feel the air coming in right now. If I close it, it'll start to heat up, and I can do that for maybe an hour. Maybe an hour. But all I need is an inch or two. Look at that. And I can feel there's a bit of, it's not breezy, but I can feel the air circulating down across my legs and to the floor. That's what I do. Denise, I think I already acknowledged you. So hello again to you. Ken in Woodstock, Georgia. Yes, that was your question. Thank you for that. Theo, happy Friday from the kitchen table in lovely Palos Hills. Margaret in Houston. Jay Leonard from Columbus, Ohio in the house. Fantastic. Kathleen, good morning from Wyoming. Corey in Whitehall, Wisconsin. Loretta in Cold Creek, Illinois. Jason, good morning from Kearney, Nebraska. Tascam or Zoom have good small recording units that will work with about any mic. I think you're talking about, referring back to the recording from your car. Good afternoon from Exeter, Devonshire in UK. James, good to see you. Diane in frigid Highland, Wisconsin. Spring is coming. Yeah, it is. Just hang in a few more months. Zach says, good morning. Not to rub it in anybody's face, but it's 72 degrees here in Nigeria. Oh, Zach, we're happy for you. We're thrilled. But never bring that up again in the middle of wintertime. That's just mean. Oh, Zach, how long are auditions usually open? Well, Zach, there's no one answer to that. I've seen auditions that were open and closed in a matter of minutes because they heard the voice they wanted and the auditions closed. I've seen others stay open for weeks. So usually the client will tell you how long they're going to keep it open, but that doesn't mean they won't close it sooner if they hear a voice they love. That happens quite often. Detroit checking in. India, good to have you here today. Bob, had a problem with room noise issue. I have a Scarlett 2i2 interface. A YouTube video suggested I push 2 buttons on the interface. Problem solved. Now I have to record new stuff. I'm not following that, Bob. I apologize. You fix the problem by pushing some buttons on the interface. You have to I don't understand why you have to record new stuff. Does it sound different now? Or were you recording with the room noise? Well, the room noise would have nothing to do with your Scarlett, though. That's it. Room noise is literally room noise. There's the interface can create noise itself. Sometimes problems the first place I always look is a driver. Sometimes a driver needs to be updated. I probably haven't addressed what you said, and for that, I apologize. Aaron in Linden, Washington. Malachi just subscribed. Fantastic, Malachi. Sandra, I'm in a closet with all my winter coats in front and to the side. On the other side is moving blankets. I record to ACX standards. There you go, Sandra. Perfect. Desi Lou, good morning. Steve, been a Blueprint member since 2017. Finally took your advice and tried Michigan cherry coffee. If you're a member of my VoiceOver Blueprint, you're not drinking Michigan cherry coffee. You're doing VoiceOver all wrong because you can only drink. No, I'm kidding. I'm being sarcastic. There's no rule that says you have to drink Michigan cherry coffee, but it doesn't hurt. I will say that it doesn't hurt. Why did I wait so long? Steve says. Thanks for everything. Well, Steve, next time I give you a coffee suggestion, take it seriously because I don't mess around. When it comes to coffee, I do not mess around. Aether in India. Oh, fantastic. Another Columbus, Ohio. I grew up near Columbus, Ohio, a little town called Lancaster, Ohio, just outside of Columbus. So all things Columbus and Central Ohio are very near and dear to my heart, including the Ohio State Buckeyes. Hey, Ken, what's going on? Theo, don't forget to hit that like button, y'all. Thanks, Theo. Malachi in Detroit. Marlene says thanks. James suggesting a birthday suit is the best clothing to wear in the booth. Well, it might be the quietest. Andrew says, is your PC in the booth or outside to not make noise? Well, my PC is in the booth. I'm looking straight into it. It's an AirBook. A Mac. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mac Air, not AirBook. Mac Air M2. It has no fan. So that's why it's in here. It makes zero noise. Prior to this little deal here, which just came out about a year ago, I always kept my computer outside the studio. Even if it has a solid state drive, doesn't mean it doesn't have a fan. If it has a fan, you're going to have problems at some point, probably. So up until I got this computer, like I said, about a year ago, my computer was always outside of the booth. And I just ran a cable in and put an external monitor in here, but not now. Malachi, cold or hot drinks, whatever you prefer. I mean, seriously. I'm a hot drink guy when I work, but I've had cold drinks on occasion. Again, people will swear by room temperature water. Experiment, figure out what works best for you. There are no rules on that. Bob in Wadsworth, Ohio, just woke up, record new stuff to replace the room noise recordings. My sister-in-law was raised in Grove City. Heard of it? Are you kidding me? My best friend lived in Grove City for quite a while. Eventually moved to Florida. But yeah, I've had a number of friends in Grove City. I used to live close to Grove City. I used to live over on the west side of Columbus. Just a couple of minutes down the road from Grove City. So absolutely. Or as I like to call it, Groovy City. Greetings from Northern California. I finally built a dedicated sound booth at home because of your inspiration. Oh, great one. Well, let's not go overboard, but that's very, very generous and kind. Thank you. And congrats on building the sound booth. I love that. Okay. I'm going to take a shot at saying the name here. Jesaleomi, hello, and thank you for being here. Really good. And forgive me, I'm sure I didn't get it right, but I did my best. Bob says, I'm with James on the birthday suit. Try not to think about that. I'm trying really hard. You're making it more difficult by bringing it up again, though. I got to be honest. What are the best sites for auditions currently on ACX and Voices 123? Well, those are both great sites for auditions. What's interesting is Fiverr is not known as an audition site. In other words, they don't post auditions, but you almost always end up auditioning. So when somebody reaches out to you, you want to make sure you record a sample for them to hear. So that also, in my opinion, becomes another good auditioning site. What do I think about working remotely in the US from across the globe? I think if it's a warmer client than Midwestern US, I think it's great. The only thing that you may have to deal with are time zone things if most of your clients are in the US. Now, it's interesting. I'm in the US. I would say 25% of my work is outside of the US. So I have to deal with time zone stuff too, and it can be dealt with. And if you don't mind being a little flexible with people, then you should have no problems. Can I recommend phone apps to edit your audio? No, I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm just saying I don't recommend it because it's hard to be really super precise as it is with a computer and a mouse. Um, I'm thinking on my iPhone, there's a built-in audio app that has editing capability. With a little practice, you could probably be good with just about anything. Sarah says, "Thank you." Well, thank you, Sarah. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay warm, stay safe, and I'll see you guys on Monday.